I think what I've gained from Catalyst for sure is the confidence
Mm.
that I don't have to be held over a barrel. And it gave me a lot of confidence in dealing with my supervisor this go round when she was like, "Well, you have to work 5 days a week." And I was like, "Oh, no, I don't." I said, "I have another job. I have
I'm
a
the CEO of my own company.
exactly
Yes.
and I make more money in that per
Hmm.
hour than I'm going to be making with you."
It was such a pleasure to interview Jen. And I love her story because it kind of tells that story where a lot of you guys might be, where we've helped hundreds of people, hundreds of nurses to transition into legal nurse consulting. But Jennifer is a story that's just getting started. She's only been marketing for 2 weeks. So I hope you are as encouraged by her story as I am. Let's dive into this interview.
Jen, thank you so much for joining me. I am excited to hear your story. I know you might have a little bit different story than people like Alex or Nicole who have been doing this for a long time, because you're pretty darn new to this whole thing and being a business owner and an entrepreneur. So I'm excited for people to hear your story of someone who's kind of just cracking the surface of what it means to be an entrepreneur. Thank you for joining me. What would
Thank
you?
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start out by asking you to tell us a little bit about you, your nursing background, and how you ended up finding me and Catalyst.
Okay. So my nursing background, I started out in intensive care, worked there for a lot of years, did trauma med surge, um, really loved that critical thinking, the one-on-one patients, um, just the challenge that those patients that you run into with them. Um, I dabbled in home health for a little bit. I did dabble in pediatric ICU, decided that wasn't for me. Um, then I transitioned to case management once I had kids, to kind of give me more of a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 kind of schedule.
Yep.
Um, and I've loved that. I've done case management in all different realms, from the hospital to an LTAC to insurance. I've kind of seen it from all different directions. And I really like that because you think that you aren't getting patient care with that, but you really are. You're really meeting them in a different place. And that's always
Mhm.
been like I want to find a different way to be able to reach people,
Mm.
with my nursing, because that's why I went into nursing, was to reach people. So, um, and over the last few years, I have started feeling, I'm coming up on 20 years of nursing. Um, and I started feeling burned out, um, really asking myself, what am I doing? I'm missing time with my kids, even though I'm 8 to 5 and I'm working from home. I'm stuck to a computer, 8 to 10 hours a day. And I really just kind of started questioning, like, what am I doing? I'm, still young. And I would like to finish out my career, but I don't know that this is what I want to do. I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to, keep going up the ladder.
Yep.
Um, and I just really was getting tired of feeling like I'm being held over a barrel constantly. Like, well, if you leave here, what are you going to do? I mean, you might not
Right.
make as much money doing something else or doing whatever. So, legal stuff has always interested me. I am a true crime junkie. I watch trials in my free time. I love all that stuff, and I love the detective work. So I started researching different avenues of nursing and came across legal nurse consulting, I would say probably about 18 months ago, and just kind of looked at it and then put it to the side and was like, I can't do that. It's not something that I could do. For whatever reason, probably not enough confidence in myself that I could learn something new at almost, 2 decades into nursing.
Yep.
It's been a long time since I've been in school. Um, and I guess it was probably in the spring of last year, I had applied for another position within the company I was with, um, and got shot down immediately. Didn't even get a chance to interview. And at that point, I was like, what am I doing? I really had um, for lack of a better term, come to Jesus meeting and just like what am I doing? I find no joy in this at all. I
Mm,
need something that I find joy in, but that I can also be a mom and a wife and a friend and a church member,
yeah.
and do those things that give me passion. So I was looking at different programs. If you've never looked into this, there are probably thousands of different ways to become a legal nurse consultant. From just saying, I want to be a legal nurse consultant and just trying it, to looking at different certifications, going back to school, or, programs, mentoring programs like yourself. There was one program that I looked at that was, I had like an introduction call with.
Mhm.
And initially I thought it was going to be okay, but the more and more I talked with them, I didn't feel like they were going to give support.
Mm,
So I kind of backed off again for a couple of weeks and was like, okay, maybe this is not something that I can do. Um, and I got onto a Facebook group, and that was for legal nurse and consultants. And I just said, does anybody know of any programs? How do you get started? Where do I need to start looking? And another girl from the Catalyst program reached out and messaged me and said, let me get you on with Randy, and you can learn all about this. Randy is where it's at. And that's when I met you. I think I had my call like 2 days later, maybe, and met you. And I was like, this is it. This is what I need. The community, the depth that you go into how to do things, not just how to be a legal nurse, but how to be a business owner as well.
yeah.
We as nurses don't generally have that kind of background about business ownership.
Yeah. That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different avenues, like you said. And I think one of the things a lot of programs out there don't want to tell people is you really don't have to have anything. You can throw LNC behind your name as a nurse and legally be a legal nurse, but you don't know what you're doing.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then you're looking into all these different pathways and programs, and how do you know who to trust? And everybody says they're the best. What was it that you saw in Catalyst or me that made you believe that this was the way to go, the best program out there?
I think that it was the connection that I had on the call with
Hmm.
you, and the connection that I had with Cami in the beginning, because when she reached out to me, she wasn't just trying to sell Catalyst.
Right.
Um, she was just giving me facts of what this program offered. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. A mentor, someone to come alongside me and guide me in the right path, and, to get to be a legal nurse consultant. And then when I got on the call with you, it just it was just like the pieces were falling into place, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And this is what I need to do.
And so now that you've been in it for what, 9 months, right? You've been in
Mm,
Catalyst, I think, for 9 months or so. Did you make the right call? Was it true? I mean, have we actually helped you get there?
a
What are some of
thousand
the
percent.
what are some of the successes? What are some of the tangible things that you've actually gained through your experience in Catalyst?
So the first thing I will say is I've gained confidence.
Mm,
Confidence in myself, that I have the ability to be a better professional and learn new things, and not be stuck in a rut of just doing the same thing over and over again. I have options. I'm not held over a barrel that this is my only role that I could ever be in, that if I wanted to do something else, I need to go spend a ton of money to get a new degree and go take a different path.
right.
So it's the confidence that I can do something totally different and learn it, and be my own boss, like run my own business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And have you started running your own business yet?
I have. So I started marketing in mid-February. It's been kind
Okay.
of spotty because I've had some life issues that come up, and anybody with kids, and A family knows that life issues come up. And I have actually subcontracted for one case. And then I have one client who has given me two cases, and my follow-up meetings with her, she was, she was an attorney doing her own medical reviews herself. And I was exactly what she was looking for. And that came through networking, actually. I did market to her, but it was also a networking through one of my friends that she knew. And we just kind of met up, and I was what she was looking for, somebody
That's
to
awesome.
take that off of her plate. And she loved the work. She was like, this is the best. She even said she'd worked with several other legal nurse consulting firms, and her main complaint was the consistency from case to case.
Mm.
Get one case and she would like it, and the next case would be not what she wanted at all.
Yeah, a lot of that I think comes down to nurses using subcontractors, and it's hard out there in the LNC world to find high quality subs that do the work the way that your attorneys expect it to be done. That's something that in Catalyst, once you start growing, I'm excited for you to start using the subs. I know you've acted as a sub already, I believe, and
Yes.
as you come through Catalyst, you're an amazing person to be a subcontractor. Then you start running your own business, and before long, you're going to be using subcontractors, and they're all doing the work the same way that your attorney already expects it. Just makes it so much easier, I think, than a lot of people out there trying to run their business. Uh,
Yes.
what when did when did you come out of your third practice case and you were able to start subbing? How long ago was that?
End of January, 1st of February was
Okay.
kind of when I was done.
All right. So not even 2 months yet.
Mm-mm.
And then how long did it take you after you finished your third practice case before you got a live subcontracting case?
2 days.
Oh, okay, great, good. And then when did you start? Like, how many weeks have you been actually marketing the way we teach?
I would say a total of 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's kind of been spread over a little bit of time.
Yeah, life happens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, life happens, but a total of 2 weeks.
All right. So you've been marketing yourself for 2 weeks, and how many cases have you gotten of your own charging that 150 an hour?
Two cases of my own from one attorney client.
Wow. 2 weeks and two cases. That's a pretty good
Yes,
start. That's a pretty good
yes,
start, Jen.
yes.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on your success. That's pretty awesome. What do you think were before joining Catalyst? What were some of the biggest challenges that you were facing having you mentioned some of them kind of in that box and not being able to run your own life, but how was that impacting you? What did you find were some of the biggest challenges?
I felt very isolated. My mental health was declining because I felt like I was
Mm,
doing the same thing over and over again, and not getting a different result. I felt like personally I wasn't growing. And I'm a firm believer in, if you're not growing as a person, then becoming stagnant is just, I mean, it's really bad for your mental health, it's bad for your physical health, and it's bad for your family. So I felt like I was just kind of stuck.
yeah. And has that changed? Like has Catalyst and this world of legal nursing, now that you're a successful entrepreneur and business owner, has that changed any of those challenges you had before?
Yes, I feel more confident in my own abilities, and that, I'm the professional, and I'm bringing something to the table that is
Mm,
worth something. Um, Having that first meeting after I did my two cases with my attorney, going into it, I was super nervous. Like, oh my goodness, what is she going to say? Is she going to think, what is she going to think about all of these cases? And I was, I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised. I was the one running the meeting, and she was looking to me for the expertise. And I came out of that thinking, that's what I've done over the last 9 months, is I've grown and I've changed to, I have an expertise, I'm bringing it to the table, and I can help and benefit you in a way that is tangible, by showing you the strengths and the weaknesses of your cases.
I love that. I love that. What would you say? I know you mentioned a number of things that have you've gained the confidence and such through Catalyst. What were the one or two things in Catalyst that really helped you move in that direction the most?
Number one was the community. I will say, I think that is top notch, the first thing that Catalyst does the absolute best.
Yep.
Having a community of people that are going through the same things that you are, but striving towards the same goals that you are,
Mhm.
is second to none. I mean, you can't replace that with anything. There were times that I felt like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. I would reach out to another Catalyst member and they would share an experience where they had the same feelings, the same thoughts, and how they pushed through it. And then I found myself turning around later on in the program and encouraging somebody else and saying, no, look, I went through XYZ. You can totally do this. And, being able to offer that support. So the community is the first thing. The second thing is the thoroughness of the teaching, and being so detail oriented, and the process in the way that it's taught. You kept saying in the beginning, trust the process, because in the beginning you feel like, I'm looking at all of these medical records and I'm just lost and paralyzed and thinking, where do I even go? But when you transition, when you actually walk through that first case and get to that second case, the difference is just so astronomical.
Yep. Yep. I love that. And that's what I hear all the time. The community is top notch. And how is you kind of mentioned this, but how is what you've experienced through Catalyst and through your growth as a legal nurse and growth as a person, how has that changed your life outside of your business world? How's it changed your family life, your time with your kids, your husband?
It has changed drastically. I feel like I have been able to spend more quality time with my kids. I'm making plans for the future when my business finally takes off, that I will be able to just be there for my kids 1,000%. Um, anytime that they need me and not be constrained to work. Not to
Yeah.
say that I'm not gonna work, but that's, I can put them up higher on the scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a big driving factor for so many of us. And it certainly has made a huge impact in my life and my wife's life, who helps me run our business. What if somebody's watching this right now and they're thinking, I don't know. I don't know, Jennifer. I hear you. I hear you talking about your life and your experience, but I don't know if I could do it, or I don't know if Catalyst is the right way, because like you said, there's so many options out there. What would you say to them?
I would say do it, make the leap. It is a leap of faith. It In order to gain something, you've got to give up something.
Mhm.
And it took me just saying, this is it. I'm doing this and jumping. And I think that that's going to be the case throughout my business career. If I want something bigger, I'm going to have to leap and I'm going to have to take faith and just go with it. So do
Yeah.
it.
So much of being a successful entrepreneur, and you're just scratching the surface of that, but you're right. You have to take calculated risks to get big rewards sometimes. And definitely that first step can sometimes be the absolute hardest one.
Yeah.
So if thank you for all of that. And if someone is watching this and wants to learn more about you or your business, what's the best way for them to find out more about you?
So my website is integritylegalnurse.com. And my email is Jennifer at integritylegalnurse.com. I am always ready to talk to somebody, share with them either about the program, about subcontracting, or about with an attorney about how I can benefit their firm with helping with cases.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Jen, for joining me today. I'm hopeful that your story encourages others to take that big leap and the risk that it takes to become successful and to change your life. And you're a testament to that.
Thank you so much, Randy. It has really been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.